There's other verses that we're going to recite later on tonight as well. And from those verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أُذِنَ لِلَّذِينَ يُقَاتَلُونَ بِأَنَّهُمْ ظُلِمُوا. This is the first verse, according to Ibn Abbas and many other giant scholars of tafsir of the Holy Quran. When we take the name of Ibn Abbas, that's the bottom line. There's no need to take the name of anybody else since he's the greatest. He's the goat in tafsir of the commentary of the Holy Quran. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said this was the first time the Muslims had been given the green light to actually engage in combat and in hostilities. When was this reversed? After 13 years of untold suffering, persecution, hardship, and pain. We finally, by the permission of Allah, migrated to Madinatul Munawwara. When we got to Madinatul Munawwara, whether it was the first year in the month of Ramadan or in the second year in the beginning in the month of Muharram, there was the Sariyah. We told you a couple of days back about what a Sariyah is. Sariyah is an expedition in which the Prophet ﷺ dispatched the Sahaba, but he didn't participate himself. So there was the Sariyah of Hamza radiallahu anhu, the first Sariyah in Islam. There was just a group of 30 of them to go and intercept a caravan of 300 that were returning from Syria. And then after this was the Sariyah of the great giant Sahabi, Ubaydah bin Harith radiallahu anhu. If you haven't heard of his name, he is the first cousin to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In this Sariyah, in this expedition, was the first arrow thrown in Islam by the greater Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu. This is the first arrow that was thrown in the history of Islam that was shot by anyone, and this accolade belongs to Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu. An enormous accolade. He's one of the 10 guaranteed Jannah. Then there was the Sariyah of Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu, which he spearheaded himself. And then after that there was a battle known as Abwa. Abwa is the same place where the Prophet ﷺ's mother left this world. At a tender age of 6 was he. And then after this was the battle of Bawat. And then after this was the battle of Ushayra. All of these are small little skirmishes, many of which there's actually no engaging in hostilities anyways. After this was the battle of Safwan. The Safwan is known as the first minor battle of Badr. And then after this is the Sariyah of Abdullah bin Jahash radiallahu anhu, one of the first to have embraced Islam early on in the stages of the beginning stages in Mecca. Abdullah bin Jahash radiallahu anhu would go on to get martyred in the battle of Uhud. For those of us who remember, I don't think we have time, but him and Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu on the eve of Uhud, so we're talking about the third year of after the Hijrah in the month of Shawwal, so I guess the 19th. They told one another, Abdullah bin Jahash says to Sa'd, he says, listen, we know what's going down tomorrow, so why don't both of us go inside of a corner, seclude ourselves, and start making dua to Allah, and Allah grant the dua that we ask. One of us makes dua and the other says Ameen. And then you make dua and then I say Ameen. Sa'd says deal. So Abdullah bin Jahash makes this amazing dua. Many of us wouldn't be able to handle it, but of course they were built different. He says, oh Allah, let me deal with the mightiest, strongest, most fiercest of enemies tomorrow, and let me fight him and attack him with all my strength and main, and let him do the same, and ultimately let him get the upper hand and win the game. So then what? Allow him to do, like, mutilate my body. He goes into very graphic detail. And then he says, I did all this, so oh Allah, you can ask me on the day of judgment when I'm resurrected and made to stand before you. What did you do, Abdullah? What is this? Look at the condition in which you presented yourself to me. I can tell you, oh Allah, I did this for you, your messenger, for the deen of Islam. Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas said, Ameen. And then Sa'd made dua, but he asked to continue to live victoriously. Then Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas said, tomorrow I saw his dua accepted by Allah exactly as he had asked. I saw whatever he had asked for, his nose and ears and everything had been mutilated and they were hanging his string. But anyways, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the green light. After this happens in the second year of the Hijrah, the Battle of Badr, in the month of Ramadan on the 17th. And then there's another verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed that we're going to read tonight as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, هَذَانِ خَصْمَانِ اخْتَصَمُوا فِي رَبِّهِمْ. These two different parties and groups, one is the believers and one is the disbelievers. They are enemies to one another, fighting, of course, one for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and one against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This verse was revealed regarding when the Battle of Badr began. What they used to have single, one-on-one combat, duels just like this. So there were 3 from the side of the Muslims that went up. There were Hamza bin Abdul Muttalib radiallahu anhu, and Ubaydah bin Harith, the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ, whose name we took earlier, and Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. And Hamza radiallahu anhu went up against There was Utbah bin Rabi'a and Shayba bin Rabi'a, and then there was Walid bin Utbah. So Shayba bin Rabi'a was the uncle of Hind. He went up against Hamza radiallahu anhu. One thrust finished him off. Ali radiallahu anhu went up against his son Walid bin Utbah, or his nephew Walid bin Utbah. One thrust, finished him off, sent him to hell. And then the third one, Ubayd bin Harith radiallahu anhu, he went up against Utbah bin Rabi'a. He had a little difficulty trying to take him out. This is before the actual, the thick of the battle begins. And when he was having a little bit difficulty, Hamza and Ali radiallahu anhuma, they came to rescue him, and when they did, they finished him off, and they picked him up, Ubayd bin Harith radiallahu anhu, and brought him to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And while he was lying there, about to breathe his last, he asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he looked up to him and he said, Ya Rasulullah, am I a martyr? Am I considered a shaheed? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, yes indeed. He breathes his last and he goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the other verses that we recited as well tonight, inshallah, the details of which we will go through another time.